So yeah, hey guys, we're on a call here with John and Gunther. We're just having a little chit chat. So I wanted to show everyone quick where we are in our NFT development. Everyone's seen the smart chain. So here's kind of a quick overlook. So we have an NFT collection that we built. It's you can see right here, but I wanted to just talk a little bit about the under the hood and how this is working because I'm really excited about this and it seems to be working well. So all the stuff that you see here, it's probably, I don't know, Gunther, what is it, like 30, 40 images? Do you remember?
No, it's like the complete collection is about 152.
Oh, 152. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's from the famous pin-up artist Elfgren. So they are kind of a bit cheeky but fun at the same time, and they are in high resolution. So that's a good test.
Yeah. So each of these is what, meg and a half or something like that? 1.6 megs, I think, give or take a little bit. But these are all on chain, like anchored on chain. And one of the things that I push real hard with Validity and the smart chain is I want everything to be as on chain as possible with no background database, no centralized servers or anything. So all of this can be loaded directly from a blockchain. But like the big issue you run into with data this size is obviously you don't want to dump megs of data onto a chain. So what we came up with is this IPFS offloading, which is where all this data is kind of stored on IPFS and then linked through a hash. So I'm just going to go through real quick how we did this, and then so here's our collection here. So when we build a collection, we start with. Oh yeah, I guess I should.
It helps if you share the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, let me share it. All right, is that working? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so this is a folder on a computer. I don't think there's anything. Yep, nothing sensitive over there. So we have all these are all the JPEGs for the collection. And Gunther did a lot of work pulling these all together. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
Yeah, well done. And then we have all these, and then a configuration file, which is right here. I don't think I have anything goofy up there. Yep, no, that's good. So the configuration file is set up. So it has three main components. It's got a type, and then a constructor, and then all the members. So the type just lets the smart chain know that it's a collection, and then the constructor has a bunch of stuff specifically to that collection, like the name of it, a description, what the cover image is, and some other parameters as far as like transferring and other relatively boring stuff. And then here's a list of members, which is all of those images we just looked at. These can be generated by a script, and when we go live with this, I'll have a whole tutorial showing you how to do this, and I'll have the script published as well. So I'll just pick one at random. So here's a member. This is all smiles .jpg, and its name is all smiles, and it's an image, and it's a common NFT. Let's see if I can find one that's an uncommon. Yeah, so here's an uncommon one here. So it's just changed. So it's saying that our image name is that. So if we go here, and then there's our NFT. But the way this is done, and the way that this gets uploaded, is we take this folder, and we go to IPFS. So I have an local IPFS node running, and we just do an IPFS add, R for recursive, and then that folder. Hit enter. IPFS hashes that all and adds it to the DHT and on that particular node and pins it. And what you get is each of these files has a Q hash, and then there is a Q hash here that represents that entire folder. So if we go back to the internet and go to this is a one of the IPFS gateways, and just throw the hash in, you get all those files that are hosted up on IPFS. And what you can see, like here's, let's see, like you just click this and it loads the picture. And now these pictures are loading directly off IPFS, which is a distributed file sharing and indexing platform or service. It's all open source, free to use. And then when we go down, we can find, here's our config, the same one that we looked at before. But what's interesting is now each of these files has a hash associated with it. And when we go to the smart chain, there is a dialog which I can't see at the moment because I'm not logged in right now, where you just take that hash, this one right here for the entire collection, and add it to the smart chain as a smart transaction, hit send. And what the code does is once it sees that, it goes out and will load all of this data from IPFS and create smart objects from it. So it will read this config, it'll find the different JPEGs, it will assign the rarity reading these custom fields, and then in the smart object, it links it to that object's particular hash. So this link here is the link to the full image on the full scale image. Oh, that was a unique place to click. That's my bad. Did not do that on purpose. But the cool thing is these hashes, these are all Bitcoin 58 encoded hex. So they can be translated very easily into hex and integrated directly into the smart chain. So each of these NFTs then can become linked to and referred to by these hashes. So if we can go down, you see any of these NFTs are all loadable and visible. So if, let's just say we go, let's just look at this one. So I need to do some more work on the GUI to make these pop up nicer. And I do have that linked. Okay, so we can click that, and I couldn't remember if I had that linked or not. So we can get a direct link from there to the file. Once you're logged in, you'll have buttons pop up where you can send these to different people, and you can transfer them. And so, like we can see, let's just look at this one. You can see that this one's currently owned by the collection where it was minted from. And there's a couple of them that were sent around for testing. I try to remember which one it is. It's one of the ones with the green background.
Do you mind if I interject for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know a big issue for some folks with NFTs is you could just take a screenshot. Like those stock image services where they have the watermarks on them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something or a plausible implementation? Put watermarks all over the images so that way you can't just screenshot it unless you're the owner.
Yeah, well, in the NFT space, it's more about, one of the things is like bragging rights and the proof that you actually bought the original. So even like collections on Ethereum and that are available OpenSea, you can just, take a print screen or a screenshot, but that doesn't mean that your copy is valuable.
Yeah.
It's only valuable when it's linked to a hash on the blockchain. So in those communities, they don't really care if somebody takes a screenshot because the owner still has the original verifiable on the blockchain.
Yeah, does OpenSea or other platforms do that to the best of your knowledge? I mean, we could probably generate something like that.
Yeah,
even if
they don't do it. they don't do it, and at this point I don't think it's needed, because NFT is all about community, and if you're part of a community, people can see in your address that you bought the real one or not. If otherwise, like, let's say you are a copy, then you have a copy, then people will easily say like, oh, it's a fake one, it's just a copy. So I mean, I don't really see a problem with it at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know that there would be a good way to prevent it. We could definitely look into something like that. Gunther, do you remember which one that we sent you as a test?
I think it's
this one. Was it
the
this one?
verdict was, yeah.
Yeah. So we look at this one, and this one was sent. We can see that the creator was the collection, but the owner is Gunther, and this is his identity. I don't think there's anything so we can click on this.
No.
Yeah, we can see he's got his incognito profile picture. There's his little NFT plug. I mean, obviously our NFTs is the best platform ever, but we don't have NFTs, or we don't have incognito, but they're doing some pretty cool stuff too. So I mean, I guess they're all right. But yeah, so you can see that that particular one is owned by Gunther, and I don't remember. I sent a couple of them around. I don't remember who I sent them to. But this is all testing. There's a very strong probability that this collection will get discontinued and then possibly relaunched with a couple other changes. But just so, because I'm sure people were seeing this, these no image NFTs is, you don't have to have an image for your NFT. So there are other uses for NFTs, like if you're going to do like social tokens or just verifications and things like that, you can do. And so there's a couple other things, but that's one use case for NFTs without pictures. But yeah, that's kind of where we are with our NFT progress. The next thing is to get the marketplace up.
I was just gonna ask you, like, can you tell the community a bit more about what stuff needs to be done and where we are going, like adding the market, buying and selling and all that?
Yeah. What I've been working on the past couple of days, I'm working real hard on now, is to get a marketplace set up. The challenge that we're having, and I've mostly worked through, is the actual transfer mechanism for how these will be transferred safely. So the original thought was we just have some smart contract code where someone lists an NFT for sale, someone sends let's say 10 val, and that transfers the NFT. But there's some issues where because of the way the NFTs or all the smart objects are not specifically linked to like a colored coin, using, I guess that's a really old term these days, colored coins, or a colored transaction. There could be an issue where with that, so there could be an issues with that mechanism where two people could try to buy an NFT at the exact same time, and one person's transaction would get confirmed before the second one, and the second person would end up paying the seller but not receive the NFT, which is a situation which is absolutely not acceptable. So there's two options that we could have gone down to get this to work nicely. One would have been to do like a wrapped val on the val chain. So we could have used like expanded functions, some more smart contracty stuff, or better opcodes. However, there are some issues there as far as how would we set up the vault and who would administer the vault. All stuff that I do want to work out at some point and get set up, but I really want to get this marketplace up and running so we can start testing on it and people can start minting collections and so forth. So with the way that we're going to do it, it's a little bit it makes sense in my head. So you have your buyer over here and your seller over here. So what we're going to do is, with that NFT, the seller is going to create a locking output, which will probably be like a 1 Satoshi transaction output that'll then in the smart chain be linked to that NFT. So as long as that output is not spent, it's linked to that NFT, and that NFT will be for sale. And so what happens is the buyer will see, okay, so I want to buy this NFT, and here's the output. So I'm going to create a transaction that sends 10 val to the seller, but also requires the seller to transfer this locking transaction to the buyer. So it's a two-sided transaction. And the buyer will sign this transaction, which will show intent. And then all the seller has to do is say, okay, I see this transaction. Maybe I don't like this transaction. I don't like that price. I don't want to accept it. So they do nothing. And that transaction never goes on the chain and is never valid. Or say the seller says, okay, that's a fair price. I want that. This half of the buyer's half of the transaction is already signed. The seller will then have to sign their half of the transaction, which is just the locking output, and then broadcast a transaction. And what will happen is the locking transaction will go to the buyer, and the funds will go to the seller, and the NFT will follow that locking transaction. Now, that locking transaction would then be spent in the process and become spent and get decoupled from the NFT, and the NFT will then no longer be for sale in the smart chain, and it'll be in the possession of the buyer. So it's as elegant of a solution that I can come up with that does not require a database, does not require an exchange, is as atomic as possible given our current infrastructure and the opcodes that we have to work with in our chain. So it's two extra steps when compared to doing something on, say, like a ERC20 based chain or on Ethereum. However, the transaction fees to do this are going to be the same as any other transaction. So, if you're going to be selling NFTs on the Validity chain, you're not going to be paying $60 fees, $100 fees, $1,000 fees just to push your transactions through, because we don't have that crazy overhead that goes into these NFT smart contracts. So while there may be like a little bit of extra step, a little bit more headache, we're going to have a GUI all set up for this. You'll be able to do it in a couple clicks. You may have to wait for a couple minutes to get the locking transaction creation to confirm on the chain. But that is, I think, you guys can tell me if you have a different idea, but I think that compared to having to pay, $1,500 to transfer something on Ethereum, I'd much rather spend, an extra 5 or 10 minutes waiting for a couple extra transactions to confirm rather than spend $1,500. Everyone's time's valuable, but I can guarantee you 10 minutes of my time is not worth $1,500 or whatever the current Ethereum transaction fees are. I wish it was. I absolutely wish it was. But yeah, so what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, there might be possibilities to still fine-tune it. Like if you have some kind of auto-sign function of the seller when when the price gets met, that there's an auto-sign function, so he or she doesn't have to worry about that. I don't know.
Yeah, we can definitely set some code up. Like if you look at, I think, Atomic Dex and a couple of the other Atomic implementations, I'm pretty sure, and maybe they've changed this, but at least back last time I looked at it, you had to keep that Dex up and running on your computer somewhere in order so if you had orders on an Atomic Dex, you have to have code running somewhere that has access to keys to do signing. And we could absolutely do the same thing in this situation. You could have a script, or we could even do it in browser. You just keep your local client open and keep the local client open, and it'll like you just set your parameters, and it'll automatically accept those offers as they come in. So there's definitely ways that we can do this.
I have one question about the auto signing possibility. Mm-hmm. In order to kind of eliminate the need to have any sort of in-browser app running, or if I want to put up something up for sale and I want to shut my computer off. I mean, is it possible to have kind of like a little bit set? So like as a seller, I can allow it to automatically execute the transaction if there's a particular bit set to say auto sell on chain or something. So if somebody sends in an offer, it'll just accept the offer if it sees that this particular bit is set or not.
So in the smart chain, yes.
Okay.
So the smart chain, we can absolutely do that. The issue just is with that locking transaction that's on the, I guess we could say, the dumb chain. Being able to sign that transaction over.
Gotcha.
And there may be some way that we could do some like hash lock time contract, like some hash lock contracts.
What about like a pre-signature? So like as the seller, I'm pre-signing it, and then as soon as an offer comes in,
So you could do some pre-signing. No, it wouldn't work because someone could then hijack the transaction.
So the signature is based off of the incoming transaction for the transfer.
Right, unfortunately.
Now coming back to the like two people buying the NFT at the same time, and the problem that happens then. Now this happens on Ethereum too, and then one transaction goes through, and the other one doesn't lose all the money. It just loses the fee. They just lose the fee. So I'm not. How does that work for us? Like
that's exactly the scenario that I want to prevent. But the issue would be, in that case, if we don't have the locking the locking output, both transactions will validate and go through.
Oh, okay, the full amount then.
The full amount, right. Now, if we had a wrapped val, then we could get around that very easily, and it would be much more elegant.
Okay, well, it seems a wrapped val is coming then, eh?
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're definitely gonna do a wrapped val on val, and then I think Gunther, we're also looking at doing wrapped val on a Solidity chain, correct? Too, right?
Yeah, we are looking into it. The big problem really is what I call the custodial problem. So you have the two chains that are completely different. For example, Binance Smart Chain and Validity blockchain. And then in between you need to have a bridge. And that bridge is like a third-party vault. That it takes one val, and then it releases one wrapped val on the Binance Smart Chain. Now, the problem is how we're gonna do this as decentralized as possible. That vault in the middle, that bridge.
Yeah. I mean,
it's difficult.
So, I don't want to. We'll talk offline a little bit more about how to do the vault stuff, just because I don't want to say anything that would possibly compromise security.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that was a good overview of where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So that's kind of where we are. I think it's really cool. It's I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. If people like watching these, they like these chats. They like to see us talking back and forth and just kind of shooting the breeze and everything. Like, absolutely. I think I'm gonna upload. I'll probably put this on YouTube. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Just like let us know. Like, give a comment in the bottom. Just be like, "Yo, I like this. This is cool," or a thumbs up or whatever. not to sound like the typical, remember, like and subscribe. Yeah, no, but seriously, like if you have things that you want us to talk about, to bring up in the next meeting, like either like message us on Telegram or in the Discord channel, or just comment, and we'll try to address it. Can't promise everything, but John, you got anything you want to say? We're good to wrap it, or?
Well, if you guys like this video, please hit the subscribe button and like the video.
Yes, same here. Like, subscribe, and if you have questions, just join us in our Discord or Telegram, and we might even do an Ask Me Anything in the future, and we'll post that on YouTube as well then. So exciting times for Validity.